There is a sound older than your name, older than your fears, older than the stories you were told about who deserves wealth and who does not. It was spoken in the halls of a temple built by the wisest king who ever walked this earth, etched not in stone, but in frequency, a living vibration that the air itself remembers. And the moment you hear it, something in you will shift. Not because I am telling you to shift, not because you're trying, but because your soul already knows this sound, and it has been waiting, perhaps your entire life, for someone to say it out loud again. That sound is YESERAYE EFFATA. Say it with me, even in a whisper. Asterisk, YESERAYE EFFATA, asterisk. Feel what happens in your chest. Feel the way your breath slows without your permission. That is not coincidence. That is recognition. That is the ancient part of you, the sovereign, untouchable self, responding to a frequency it has always known but forgot in the noise of survival, bills, deadlines, and doubt. What you are about to receive is not a lesson. It is a remembering. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Not yet. Read this first, then close them. I want you to imagine a structure so magnificent that ancient historians refuse to believe it was built by human hands alone. The Temple of Solomon. Walls lined with cedar from Lebanon, overlaid with gold so pure it caught the sunrise and threw it back across the hills of Jerusalem like a second dawn. The air inside that temple did not feel like ordinary air. Those who entered described it as thick, warm, buzzing, like the space between lightning and thunder, like the moment before a great storm breaks and everything becomes possible. King Solomon was not merely wealthy in the way we speak of wealthy today, bank accounts, properties, portfolios. His wealth was cosmological. He understood something that has been buried under centuries of false teaching, that abundance is not created, it is channeled. He did not build his wealth by chasing it. He built it by becoming a vessel so clear, so aligned, so open to divine supply, that the universe had no choice but to pour through him. His treasury was not a result of strategy alone. It was the result of a sovereign consciousness that knew how to speak to the invisible forces governing this world. YESERAYE EFFATA was one of the keys, not a spell, not a trick. A frequency alignment, a sacred declaration that opens the energetic gates between what you have and what has always been yours. In the original Semitic tradition, Effata carries the weight of the word Jesus himself used when he healed a deaf man. Asterisk, Ephatha, asterisk, meaning, be opened. And YESERAYE, in its ancient root, speaks to the divine provision flowing without interruption, the river that never runs dry. Together, this mantra becomes a command to the universe. Open the channels. Let what is mine flow freely to me. Take a breath right now. Feel your lungs expand. That expansion, that physical opening, is the beginning of what YESERAYE EFFATA does to your energetic field. Most people walk through their lives slightly contracted, chest tight, shoulders bracing against anticipated lack. This posture is not just physical, it is a frequency. And a contracted frequency cannot receive an expanded abundance. The mantra begins to dissolve that contraction, word by word, breath by breath, vibration by vibration. I have worked with this sacred sound for years. I have watched people who had given up on financial freedom begin to experience what I can only describe as a thaw. Like a river locked under ice in winter, suddenly feeling the warmth of spring. Not from effort, but from a shift in the season of their inner world. The outer reality always follows the inner climate, always, without exception. And this truth will be the foundation of everything we explore together today. Here is something nobody talks about in the conversation around wealth, and it is the thing that cost me years before I finally understood it. Lack is not the absence of money. Lack is a frequency. It is a signal your nervous system broadcasts into the quantum field around you. And that field, which is not metaphor, which is measurable physics, responds to your signal by reflecting it back. The universe is not cruel. It is extraordinarily precise. It gives you not what you want, but what you are vibrating. And most of us have been vibrating the frequency of lack for so long, we mistake it for reality. Think about the way you check your bank account, the tightness before you look, the breath you hold, the quiet prayer that the numbers will somehow have shifted. That ritual of anxiety is a broadcast. A constant, daily, repetitive broadcast of the frequency of scarcity sent out into a universe that is always listening, always responding, always delivering a match to what it receives. This is not your fault. You inherited this frequency. It was handed to you by parents who were handed it by their parents. And theirs before them, generations of brilliant, worthy human beings who never knew they were transmitters, never understood that their worry was not protection, but perpetuation. YESERAYE EFFATA begins to interrupt this inherited loop. When you speak it with intention, when you feel it vibrate in your throat and chest, you're introducing a new frequency into a system that has been running on an old one, not aggressively, not by force. The way a single pure note played in a room full of dissonance begins to organize the chaos, gently, inevitably, powerfully. You are not fighting your old programming. You are composing something new over it. And this leads us to the secret I hinted at earlier. The reason King Solomon's mantra works on a level that affirmations alone cannot reach. We will unlock that in just a moment. But first, pause. Wherever you are right now, place one hand on your heart. Feel the rhythm there. That heart has been beating for you every second of your existence, without you asking it to, without you earning it. That is divine supply already in operation. That heartbeat is abundance. That rhythm is the proof that the universe is already invested in your continuation, already pouring resources into your survival. You are not separate from the flow. You have never been separate from the flow. YESERAYE EFFATA is simply the key that makes you conscious of what was always happening. The frequency of harvest feels different in your body than the frequency of lack. Harvest feels like warmth spreading from the center of your chest outward. It feels like the slight unclenching of a jaw you didn't know was tight. It feels like your shoulders dropping half an inch without effort. As I speak this mantra over you now, YESERAYE EFFATA, notice what stirs, notice what softens. That sensation is not imagination. That is your energetic field, responding to a sovereign frequency that it recognizes as truth. Solomon had access to knowledge that has since been fragmented across traditions, hidden in mystery schools, encrypted in ancient texts. He corresponded with the Queen of Sheba, who brought him wisdom from the African continent. He studied with Persian magi. He commanded forces, physical and invisible, that the historical record can barely contain. And from all this knowledge, from all these frequencies and formulas and sacred geometries, he returned again and again to the simplicity of YESERAYE EFFATA. Why? Because the highest forms of sacred technology are never complex. Complexity is the language of the human mind, trying to control outcomes. Simplicity is the language of divine intelligence, allowing outcomes to flow. Solomon understood that the universe responds not to the sophistication of your request, but to the clarity of your alignment. A single, clear frequency cuts through reality like light through glass, bending, refracting, filling the space with color and possibility. YESERAYE EFFATA is that clarity condensed into sound. There is also a structural reason this mantra carries such power. In the ancient Semitic languages, certain combinations of sound create what scholars of sacred linguistics call resonant containers, phrases that, literally, hold an energetic charge the way a bowl holds water. When you speak YESERAYE EFFATA, you're not just making sounds, you're constructing an invisible vessel in the air around you. And that vessel fills automatically with the divine supply that is always moving through this universe, looking for open channels to flow through. I remember the first time I sat with this mantra in deep meditation. I had been going through one of the most financially contracted periods of my life. Doors that I expected to open had closed. Opportunities I had planned around had dissolved. I sat in silence, spoke YESERAYE EFFATA slowly, repeatedly, with as much genuine surrender as I could access, and something happened that I have no language adequate to describe. The closest I can come is this. It was as though a window opened in a room that had been sealed for years. Fresh air, light. And with that light came clarity, not about what to do next, but about who I already was. About the frequency I already had access to. About the harvest that was already waiting for me to stop blocking it with my fear. The practical changes that followed were not immediate, but they were undeniable. Within weeks, resources appeared from directions I had never considered. Conversations led to unexpected opportunities. Old debts found resolution through means I had not anticipated. I'm not telling you this to promise you a timeline or a formula. I am telling you this because I need you to understand that YESERAYE EFFATA is not poetic. It is operational. It does something. And it is working even as I speak it over your life right now. I want to take you somewhere now. Close your eyes after this paragraph and stay with me. You're standing at the edge of an ancient riverbank. The water before you is not ordinary water. It moves with a golden luminescence, catching light that seems to come from within the current itself rather than from above. This river has no beginning you can see and no ending. It simply flows, abundant, unhurried, sovereign. It has been flowing since before your name existed, and it will flow long after every story you've told yourself about what you can and cannot have has dissolved into nothing. You step toward the water's edge. The ground beneath your feet is warm. The air carries a faint sweetness like honey mixed with cedar. the exact scent of Solomon's temple treasury on a morning when the golden light first hit the walls. You feel no urgency here. There is no deadline at this river. There is no one keeping score. The current does not care what mistakes you have made, what debts you carry, what shame you hide. The river flows without judgment. It flows toward all open vessels equally. Now, and feel this physically, you cup your hands. You reach down toward that golden current, and you say quietly from the deepest place inside you, YESERAYE EFFATA, open, receive. As you speak that mantra, the water fills your cupped hands immediately, warm, luminous, weightless, and heavy at the same time. The paradox of abundance. It doesn't spill, it holds. And you understand in this moment, with a knowing that bypasses the thinking mind entirely, that this is always available to you. Not sometimes, not when you deserve it, always. Feel your hands warm right now, even reading this, even in whatever room you're sitting in. That warmth is not your imagination, it is your body beginning to remember the posture of receiving. This is what YESERAYE EFFATA activates, not a desire, not a wish, but a posture. The physical and energetic posture of a being who knows they are connected to infinite supply and simply needs to cup their hands and let it flow. Every human being on earth is connected to the same infinite source of divine supply. Every single one. The difference between those who live in financial abundance and those who struggle is not luck, birthright, or secret knowledge. The difference is the degree to which their channel is open or blocked. That is it. That is the entire mystery of wealth, stripped of mystification and delivered to you plainly. Your channel, your energetic pipeline between you and the infinite ocean of prosperity, is either open or blocked, and your daily thoughts, words, and beliefs determine which one it is. Blocks form in layers. The first layer is conscious belief. I don't think I'm good with money. I've never been lucky. Rich people are dishonest. These are the surface level stories, and they are the easiest to identify. The second layer is emotional memory. Every time you felt humiliated about money, every time abundance arrived and was immediately taken away, every time you watched someone you love suffer under financial pressure. These emotional memories become energetic scar tissue in your field. They constrict the channel at a level below conscious thought. The third and deepest layer is ancestral frequency, the patterns of relationship with wealth that your lineage carried for generations, encoded not just in your beliefs, but in your very nervous system. YESERAYE EFFATA works on all three layers simultaneously. Consciously, it reprograms the belief system by introducing a counter-narrative rooted in ancient authority. Emotionally, the vibrational quality of the mantra acts as a kind of solvent for the scar tissue, not painfully, but the way warm water loosens a knot. And ancestrally, when you speak this mantra with intention, you're not just activating it for yourself. You're activating it across your lineage, forward and backward through time. You are becoming the ancestor who broke the pattern, the one who found the open gate and walked through it, and by walking through it, widened it for everyone who comes after. And this connects us to something even deeper that we will unpack in just a moment. The reason why this mantra carries a specific quantum property that modern science is only beginning to acknowledge. But stay with me here first, because I want you to understand something about gates. In Solomon's temple, there were specific gates through which specific kinds of energy were allowed to flow. The priests who tended those gates did not open them through brute force. They opened them through song, through sacred sound, through the precise frequency that the gate was designed to respond to. You are a living temple. You have gates. And YESERAYE EFFATA is the song that your gates were designed to respond to. I have seen people speak this mantra for the first time and immediately begin to cry, not from sadness, but from the relief of recognition. The way you cry when you find something you thought was lost forever, that is the gate opening. That is the channel clearing. That is the moment when the soul says, yes, this is what I have been waiting for. This is the frequency I came here to inhabit. This is who I actually am beneath all the fear. Let me speak to the part of you that needs to understand how this works before it will fully allow itself to receive it. I respect that part of you. The logical mind is not the enemy of spiritual growth. It is simply a gatekeeper that needs to be satisfied before it will step aside. So let me satisfy it. Modern quantum physics has established, through decades of peer-reviewed research, that the universe at its most fundamental level is not made of matter. It is made of vibrating fields of energy. Every particle is a wave. Every wave is a frequency. Every frequency interacts with other frequencies in ways that are not random but patterned, intelligent, and responsive. The field of quantum biology is now exploring the ways in which living systems, including human consciousness, interact with these quantum fields in ways that the classical scientific model cannot explain. what ancient sacred traditions called prayer, mantra, and invocation are. From the quantum perspective, precise frequency transmissions into a field that is listening, not metaphorically listening, literally responding in ways that follow patterns we are only beginning to map. When you speak YESERAYE EFFATA, the sound waves you produce interact with the bioelectric field your body generates, a field that extends beyond your skin by several feet in every direction. This combined acoustic and bioelectric signal is then broadcast into the quantum field that connects all things. And the field responds in kind. This is why sacred mantras must be spoken, not merely thought. Thought is an electric signal. Sound is an acoustic one. When you combine the two, thought-infused sound, you create what physicists would call a coherent signal, ordered, powerful, penetrating. The incoherent noise of worry is absorbed and dissipated by the field. The coherent signal of YESERAYE EFFATA, spoken with intention, felt with the body, moves through the field like a tuning fork moves through air, organizing everything around it to match its frequency. King Solomon knew this, not in the language of quantum physics, but in the lived experience of a consciousness so refined, so aligned, so consistently in contact with the divine intelligence governing reality that he could work with these principles as naturally as you breathe. He was, in the truest sense, a quantum master, and YESERAYE EFFATA was his master frequency, the one he returned to when he needed to align not just himself, but the energetic field around his entire kingdom with the vibration of sovereign abundance. You are not Solomon, but you carry the same access that Solomon carried, because you are made of the same divine intelligence that made Solomon. The difference is practice. The difference is intention. The difference is the choice which you are making right now in this moment to stop broadcasting scarcity and start transmitting harvest. Solomon's use of YESERAYE EFFATA was not passive. He did not simply chant the mantra and wait. He combined it with what the ancient texts describe as the 3 declarations of sovereign wealth. Affirmations not of desire, but of asterisk reality asterisk. Not I want wealth, but wealth is my divine inheritance. Not a hope for abundance, but abundance flows to me now, as it always has, as it always will. The first declaration is, I am a vessel of divine supply. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. A vessel does not generate the water it carries. It simply receives it, holds it, and allows it to flow where it is needed. When you declare yourself a vessel, you are releasing the exhausting pretense that you must manufacture your own prosperity through force of will alone. You are acknowledging the greater intelligence that you are working with, the infinite ocean that is always seeking expression through open channels. The second declaration is, what is mine cannot be taken, lost, or denied. This is the declaration of quantum entanglement with your harvest. In the spiritual physics of abundance, what is yours at a level of reality more fundamental than the physical. It exists first in the field, and the physical is simply its eventual expression. Debt can come, losses can happen, markets can shift. But the soul that is aligned with divine supply at the quantum level cannot be permanently impoverished, because its wealth is not stored in banks, it is stored in the frequency of its being. The third declaration is, YESERAYE EFFATA, I am open, I receive, I am grateful. This third declaration combines the mantra with the most powerful accelerant of abundance that exists in any tradition, genuine, embodied gratitude. Not performed gratitude, not a list of things you're supposed to be thankful for. The raw, physical sensation of gratitude for what already is, the heartbeat, the breath, the fact of being alive in a universe that is tilted toward your flourishing, even when it doesn't feel that way. Try it now. Sit tall. Take a breath that fills not just your lungs, but your belly. And speak aloud, as if you mean it, because you do. Asterisk, I am a vessel of divine supply. What is mine cannot be taken. YESERAYE EFFATA, I am open, I receive. I am grateful. Asterisk. Feel what that does in your body. Feel the shift. That is real. That shift is the frequency change that begins to alter what the quantum field delivers to you. I need to speak to something uncomfortable now, because I believe you're ready for it. And because the comfortable surface of spiritual content is not always where the real transformation lives. Somewhere in your lineage, someone suffered deeply around money. Perhaps more than one someone. Perhaps many. Generations of people who worked hard, who were good, who deserved abundance and received struggle instead. And you carry their story in your cells, not as metaphor, as actual epigenetic encoding. Science has now confirmed what spiritual traditions always knew. The emotional experiences of our ancestors are passed down not just in culture and story, but in the literal chemistry of our DNA. This means that when you sit with the frequency of lack, you are not alone in it. You are sitting with every ancestor who looked at an empty table and felt the cold weight of not enough. You are carrying their unresolved fear in your nervous system. And that fear speaks to the quantum field with a power that your conscious intentions sometimes struggle to override. This is why people can do all the right things, visualize, affirm, take action, and still find themselves cycling back to scarcity. The ancestral code is running beneath the conscious effort. YESERAYE EFFATA, spoken with the specific intention of ancestral healing, has a reach that extends beyond your individual field. When you say asterisk, I speak this mantra not only for myself, but for every ancestor who suffered, every lineage that was contracted. YESERAYE EFFATA be opened, be freed, be healed, asterisk. You are doing something profound. You are becoming the point in your family's timeline where the pattern breaks, where the energetic inheritance shifts from scarcity to harvest, where the children who come after you, biological or not, inherit a different frequency as their baseline. This is the most sacred aspect of this work. It is bigger than your bank account. It is bigger than your individual prosperity. You are, in this moment, a fracture point in an old story. The ancestor your descendants will one day be grateful for. The one who found YESERAYE EFFATA and let it open not just their own gates, but the gates of an entire lineage. The weight of that is real. The honor of it is real. And the field responds to that level of intention with a power that individual level desire alone cannot access. And this leads us directly to the practice I have been building towards since we began. The full activation protocol that will anchor this frequency into your daily life in a way that compounds over time. This is the practice. This is what you do with everything we have explored together. Not once, not on special occasions. Every day, as naturally as you brush your teeth, as automatically as you make your morning coffee. With this difference, you will feel what you are doing, and feeling it is what makes it work. Morning activation, the first 7 breaths, before you pick up your phone, before you speak to anyone, before the noise of the day fills the space that sleep is cleared. Take 7 conscious breaths. With each inhale, draw in the image of that golden river from our visualization. With each exhale, release 1 contraction, 1 fear, 1 old story about lack. On the 7th exhale, speak aloud. YESERAYE EFFATA. Open your hands, palms up, in the physical posture of receiving. Hold that posture for 30 seconds while you feel the warmth begin in your chest and spread outward. That is your morning broadcast. That is the frequency you send into the quantum field before the day can interrupt it. Midday recalibration, the 3 declarations. At some point in the middle of your day, set a reminder if you need to. Pause. It can be 30 seconds. Find a private moment and speak the 3 declarations of sovereign wealth. I am a vessel of divine supply. What is mine cannot be taken. YESERAYE EFFATA. I am open, I receive, I am grateful. This midday recalibration intercepts the frequency drift that happens naturally as daily pressures accumulate. It recenters you in the vibration of harvest before the afternoon has a chance to pull you fully into the frequency of survival. Evening integration, the gratitude harvest. Before sleep, the quantum field is especially receptive because the conscious mind is relaxing its grip, and the deeper layers of consciousness are becoming accessible. In this liminal state, speak YESERAYE EFFATA once more slowly with the full weight of everything you have received today. Not just the obvious things. The warmth of your bed, the fact that you found this content, the subtle feeling earlier in the day when something went unexpectedly right. Name these things, speak them to the field, and close with, the harvest continues, the channel is open. I sleep in the frequency of abundance. This 3-part protocol, practiced consistently for 30 days, will alter your baseline frequency in ways you will be able to feel, measure, and see reflected in your outer reality. Not because it is magic, because it is physics. Because consistent coherent signals produce consistent coherent responses from a field that is always, always listening. I want to close with something that has been sitting at the center of everything I have shared with you. The truth underneath all the techniques and frequencies in quantum language, the thing that matters most. You did not find YESERAYE EFFATA by accident. There are no accidents in a universe this precise, this intelligent, this committed to the flourishing of every being within it. You found this frequency because you were ready for it, because some part of you, sovereign, ancient, unstoppable, sent out a signal that said asterisk, I'm ready to remember who I am. I am ready to stop performing lack. I am ready to receive what has always been mine. Asterisk, and the universe, being the extraordinarily precise delivery system that it is, arranged for this to reach you. The harvest was always yours. The Golden River was never somewhere else. It was never reserved for people with different backgrounds, different education, different luck. It was always flowing directly toward you, waiting only for the gate to open. YESERAYE EFFATA is the sound of that gate. And you have already begun to open it simply by being here, simply by allowing these words and this frequency into your field. Simply by the fact that something in you recognized this truth and would not let you close the tab. What happens now is not dependent on perfection. You do not need to practice flawlessly. You do not need to believe with absolute certainty. You only need to be willing to let the old frequency go, willing to practice the new one, willing to stand at the river's edge and cup your hands even when your mind is still skeptical, even when the evidence in your external world hasn't caught up yet with the shift that is already happening in your field. The ancient ones understood that there is always a delay between the inner shift and the outer evidence. Seeds are planted underground before any sprout appears above the soil. Do not mistake the delay for denial. Do not interpret the gap between your prayer and your evidence as proof that the prayer isn't working. In that gap, that sacred, fertile, invisible period, everything is already in motion. The supply is already released. The harvest is already growing. The golden rain is already falling, even if your eyes haven't adjusted yet to see it. Speak YESERAYE EFFATA one final time with me. Say it like a sovereign. Say it like someone who has just remembered after a long and disorienting journey exactly who they are and exactly what they came here to receive. YESERAYE EFFATA. Let it settle. Let it ring in the air around you. Let it be the last vibration that moves through your field before you carry this frequency forward into the life that is. Waiting has always been waiting to meet you there. You are open. You are aligned. You are the harvest. If something shifted in you during this experience, if you felt even one moment of that warmth, that recognition, that quiet knowing, I need you to declare it. Not for me, for yourself, for the field. Type in the comments, YESERAYE EFFATA, I am open. Let that declaration anchor into the physical world through your words. Let it be witnessed. Let it be real. And if this activated something in you that you know others need, someone who is struggling, someone who has forgotten the frequency of their own abundance, share this with them. You may be the reason they find their gate. You may be the ancestor-level gift in someone else's lineage today. YESERAYE EFFATA. The harvest continues. Go receive yours.